Good evening, everybody. My name is Gautami, and I'm very, very privileged to be standing here talking to all of you. This is not meant to be boastful in any way, but it is acknowledging a privilege that I've been granted, and that is that I have shared my life already, grown up in front of a lot of you, along with a lot of you, and I've had a lot of people, even today, several people coming up and telling me, I've been a big fan of yours ever since I was a little kid. This has already made all of you partners in my life. But I would like to take you guys behind the four walls that is my life and my home. To start right at the very beginning, I was born into a family of academics. My house was always full of literature and the fine arts, and cinema is considered as one of the finest of the arts in my house. Writers, we had musicians, we had philosophers, thinkers, scientists, all kinds of people, and I grew up in such a vibrant world that incidentally is the complete opposite of the industry in which I've made my life. I followed in my parents' footsteps in the sense that my father was a doctor, my mother was a doctor, and my brother is in the ITS industry. And I finished high school by the time I was 15. When I turned 16, I was in my first year of engineering college. Merit seat. I wrote the entrance exam and I earned it. When I started the first year of my engineering course, I was 16, I got an opportunity. Before that, I must tell you, first day of engineering college, we had everyone stand up, introduce ourselves, and we had to say, one of the things that we had to talk about is what our goal in life was. And I got up and I said, I want to finish this course, but my ultimate aim is to do an MBA, and I wanted to specialize in international business and finance. I was very, very clear about that. And life started. Anyone who's been in a professional college knows how life goes, especially in the first few months. During this time, I got an offer from someone who's very close to my family, actually a relative, to do a small cameo in a film that he was producing. And my father, my mother were completely with me. If I wanted to do it, it was my choice. And I went ahead and I did it. Now, the reason behind that, between you and me, is that it allowed me to get out of the first month almost of college, which means by the time I came back, all the ragging and everything was over. So I went, I acted, sort of. I still remember facing the camera for my first shot. They turned about 10 reflectors on me, and you know, this whole jhanjat of the shoot around me. The director said, action, and I passed out. I just could not take the heat. I was so delicate and so pampered, brought up always, you know, like my parents said, we brought you up in rose petals in our hands. So I passed out, but then I was told that the most long-lived careers or more successful careers always have very inauspicious beginnings. So I grabbed onto that thought with all my might. Anyway, to cut a long story short, that little cameo started the ball rolling, and offers started coming up to a point where we couldn't ignore it any longer. My parents sat me down, and my parents, my brother, all of us were together, and they explained what this world could be. They didn't know it. They had nothing to do with cinema in any way except as fans, as connoisseurs of cinema. So they told me that life as I knew it would probably change. My goals, my expectations, whatever, everything would go in for a sea change. But if I wanted to do it, they're with me. I thought about it, and my mother also told me something. She said, what you're doing is very, very special, and it's a very hard one because you've worked very hard for it. But this opportunity that you're getting, that you never even thought about, this opportunity could be something that opens up the door to a completely different kind of life and a whole different world that you might really feel bad about having missed out on. You could always just go take a look and always come back if you don't want to be in that world. That decided it, and we packed our bags, and I came to Madras. It snowballed from there. One film became 2, became 3. It went on. Within the first year, I worked in films from 3 different languages. I was working all the time. I was a workaholic, and I loved it. But then, somewhere along the way, I realized that what I had started with, that 16-year-old, when she was in her first year of engineering college, and she had a goal, and she had a plan, and she just knew that this is what she's going to do, was suddenly in this place, in a whole new universe. It took me quite a while to find my feet, but in a strange way, I never really lost my footing because I was grounded by my parents and my family. But what I'm trying to say here is, I did have a plan, I did have a goal, and I did have a sort of a design along which I thought I was going to live my life. And not 1 year down the line, I had just tossed everything out the window, and I was in a completely new place. And I realized that I absolutely loved it. I was thriving. And the more I went down that road into my career, and I started really building it as my career and not something I was doing just because I was interested, I realized that there was no other place on this earth that I would rather be. And there is nothing else that I, with my temperament, could ever have dreamt of doing. Not medicine, not engineering, not business, not anything. I was in the right place for me. And this brings me to the point that I want to make now, because I am at that place where I was that day when my mother was talking to me. I have a daughter, and she turned 13 last week. And a lot of you, whether you're on the children's side of the line or the parent side of the line, all of you are going through this in some way or another. I was, at one stage of the last couple of years, pushing her to do what I thought was her best. She's a very smart girl. She's an extremely intelligent girl. And I was sort of putting my own experiences of my life. I was a class topper, I was this, I was that, quite boring. And I kept saying, you come from that, and I know you're really intelligent, so you should be also able to achieve those targets. And then I realized that I was not being the mother to her that my mother was to me, which is about saying, be who you need to be, set your goals, find your path, do it your way, be true to yourself. It's always about yourself when you're setting your goals and your paths in life. For me today, at this age, it is about doing something that is right for me. So this is a confession, I haven't actually had this conversation with my daughter in so many words. This is the first she's hearing of it. But what I want to say is, everybody is always on the threshold of something wonderful and beautiful and completely amazing in life. Nothing in my life, absolutely nothing in my life till today has ever gone according to any kind of grand plan or design that I might have drawn up. At one point, I recognized that, and I said, okay, tie it all up and throw it out the window. Let's take life as it comes. But what I also realized when I started analyzing the way I'm looking at my life and the curveballs that life keeps throwing at me, be it a change in profession, be it something in my personal life. I got married with great commitment, with the best of intentions from both sides. 2 individuals grew apart. It was not a happy situation, so we did not Continue in that situation. Again, my mother, a very wise lady, word of advice she gave me that always helps me to make the right decision. She says, all human beings make mistakes. But when you recognize you're making a mistake and you perpetuate it, is when you're committing a crime against yourself. That is what is not okay. Do not do that to yourself. That's not what life is about. So this has helped me through a lot of tight corners in life, places where I'm feeling conflicted. And what I want to tell all of you out there, parents, children, young adults, whoever, live your lives with passion. Find meaning in every curveball that life throws at you, because there will be. I had cancer. I really didn't do anything to deserve it. I'm a teetotaler, lived healthy, I have no genetic history, nothing. I got it. Why? And I'm never the kind of person that says, why me? But then I realized this is one time I have to ask why. What is the point? If I had done something and I'd put myself in a precarious position and I knew that, okay, I deserve to get this because I did that, but that wasn't the case. So why? So when I looked at it, I realized that really was my body, the universe, whatever you want to call it, telling me the road that you're charging down is not what life's about. There are other things that are important. Today is important. Right now is important. I know this is something that all of us are taught since we learned to pick up a self-help book, I guess. But the fact is, this is a reality that none of us should ever become cynical about. It is about today. It is about living life to the fullest with responsibility. It's not that, oh, doing this is going to make me happy, so I will do it. You know, who cares about what I have to go through to get there? You have to care. You have to look at all your parameters. You have to be responsible about it, and you have to be true to yourself. So, my baby, that's a message, and I can't get any clearer than that. And this also gives me a really clear, probably advantage to talk to her, because at least now she can't talk back. I just want to say that the world is beautiful. Youngsters who are on the cusp of finding yourselves, finding your footing in life, parents who are there, either behind them or just realizing that they still have their own lives. Everybody, reach out, grab life, take it as it comes, keep your feet grounded, keep your head in the clouds, live life with joy. Thank you so much.